Good morning, students. We will see one more topic today, that is complementary and alternative therapies. So, this complementary and alternative, it is actually called complementary and alternative medicine. It is a term commonly used to describe a broad range of healing philosophies, approaches, and therapies that focus on the whole person, including biopsychosocial and spiritual aspects. Now, let us see what are all these. So this is the definition given for complementary and alternative medicine. Then what are alternative therapies? When this complementary and alternative medicine therapies, when they are used alone, they are referred to as alternative therapies. And complementary therapies, when these therapies are used in combination with other conventional therapies, they are referred to as complementary therapies. Like Western people, they may use allopathic medicine, integrative medicine, and complementary and alternative medicines, traditional medicines like yoga, like Ayurveda, like that. When they are used in combination, they are called complementary therapies. Now let us see what are the different types of complementary and alternative therapies available for us. So there are various biologically based approaches, manipulative and body-based therapies, body-mind interventions, alternative medical systems, and energy therapies. See, these biologically based approaches, when we use treatment or we treat with diets, herbs, and vitamins, we call it as biologically based approaches. And when massages, chiropractic, and osteopathy are used, we use the term manipulative and body based therapies. And when we use yoga, spirituality, and relaxation techniques, we call them as mind body interventions. And when homeopathy, naturopathy, and Ayurveda are combined, they are called alternative medical systems. Energy therapies are like magnets. By using magnets, qigong, and reiki, we call them as energy therapies, which boost our energy. Next, what are the different types of complementary therapies? We will see each of them. Alternative medical systems, mind-body interventions, biologically based therapies, manipulative and body-based methods, and energy therapies. So, what are alternative medical systems? These alternative medical systems are built upon complete systems of theory and practice. Often, these systems have evolved apart from and earlier than the conventional medical approaches. Types of alternative medical systems are acupuncture, Ayurveda, homeopathy, and naturopathic medicine. We will see each of them. First is acupuncture. Acupuncture is a component of traditional Chinese medicine that originated in China over 5,000 years ago. It is based on the belief that living beings have a vital energy called Qi that circulates through 12 invisible energy lines, which are known as meridians on the body. So there are certain energy circulating points are there. We call them as Qi. So there are 12 invisible energy lines which are known as meridians on the human body. Acupuncturists insert needles into specified points along the meridian lines to influence the restore balance to the flow of Qi. So there are over 1,000 acupuncture points on the body. How acupuncture works? See, there are numerous theories about how this acupuncture works, and some of the theories which could explain this acupuncture are: acupuncture stimulates the release of pain, acupuncture influences the release of neurotransmitters, substances that transmit nerve impulses to the brain, and acupuncture influences the autonomic nervous system. Acupuncture stimulates circulation, and acupuncture influences the electrical currents of the body. How this acupuncture is? So the conditions which can be treated by acupuncture are migraines and tension headaches, sinusitis, common cold, addictions, to quit smoking, and Meniere's disease, arthritis, menstrual cramps, asthma, weight loss, and infertility. Then what are the limitations of acupuncture? Acupuncture is considered a safe therapy when the practitioner has been trained and uses sterilized needles. The complications include infection, broken needle puncture of an internal organ, bleeding, fainting, and seizures. And some nowadays this acupuncture is not encouraged. Why? Because through this acupuncture there are chances of spreading the bloodborne infections or sexually transmitted diseases. Then contraindications are persons with bleeding disorders, thrombocytopenia, skin infection, semi-permanent periods should be used in a person with vascular heart disease because of the risk of infection. Then electroacupuncture should be avoided in persons with a pacemaker, epilepsy, or during pregnancy. Next is the Ayurveda. It is a traditional medicine of India which originated there over 5000 years, and you know very well. See, people in olden days, Charaka Samhita, they used to use this leaves and herbs to treat some of the conditions, which is called Ayurveda. This Ayurveda emphasizes re-establishing balance in the body through diet, lifestyle, exercise, and body cleansing, and on the health of the mind, body, and spirit. Then, according to Ayurveda, everything is composed of five elements: air, water, fire, earth, and space. These elements combine to form the three doshas, that is Vata, Kapha, and Pitta. So, Vata dosha, it is a combination of space and air. It controls movement and is responsible for basic body processes such as breathing, cell division, and circulation. And Vata body areas are the large intestines, pelvis, bones, skin, ears, and thighs. People with Vata as their main dosha are believed to be quick thinking, thin and fast, and are susceptible to anxiety, dry skin, and constipation. Then the Kapha dosha, it represents the elements of water and earth. Kapha is believed to be responsible for strength, immunity, and growth. Kapha body areas are the chest, lungs, and spinal fluid. People with Kapha as the main dosha are thought to be calm, have a solid body frame, and are susceptible to diabetes, obesity, sinus congestion, and gallbladder problems. Then the Pitta dosha combines fire and water. It is thought to control hormones and the digestive system. Pitta body areas are the small intestines, stomach, sweat glands, skin, blood, and eyes. People with Pitta are, as their primary dosha, are thought to have a fiery personality, oily skin, and are susceptible to heart disease, stomach ulcers, inflammation, heartburn, and arthritis. Then an Ayurvedic treatment plan involves diet, cleansing and detoxification, herbal medicine, yoga, meditation, exercise and massage. Then Ayurvedic medicines for various ailments are used are anemia, arthritis, asthma, backache, bleeding gums, blood dysentery, bronchitis, cancer, chickenpox, cholera, cough and cold, and dengue fever. So these are the various conditions where Ayurvedic medicines can be used. Next is the homeopathy. Homeopathic remedies are typically derived from plants, herbs, minerals, or animal products. After being crushed and dissolved in alcohol or water, the selected substance undergoes a long process of dilution and succession. The solution is then stored. Then clinical application of homeopathy: diarrhea, migraines, motion sickness, and flu. And side effects of homeopathic remedies: since they are so diluted, homeopathic remedies doesn't usually cause adverse effects. In some cases, however, patients may briefly feel worse after first beginning their homeopathic treatment. Then limitations of homeopathy: a surgical problem which has progressed far beyond its initial stages might not respond to homeopathy. Some sudden life-threatening situations like heart attacks, paralytic strokes, diabetic comas might have to be initially treated with allopathy till the patient is out of danger. It is relatively slow acting as compared to the steroids. The success rate is not 100%. And next is the naturopathy. It uses body's natural healing abilities in prevention and treatment of diseases through a healthy lifestyle. It builds immunity, improves mental health, and enhances body functions. Naturopathy mainly focuses on finding the cause of the disease rather than merely treating the symptoms of disease. It uses diet, homeopathy, hydrotherapy, herbal medicine, and other therapies to return the body to a state where it can heal itself. Clinical applications of naturopathy are weight loss, fatigue, menstrual cycle disturbances like cramping, fluid retention, and irregular cycles, stress and anxiety, mild depression, mood swings, allergies, and arthritis. And menopause related problems like hot flashes, insomnia, and mood changes, sleep problems, poor immunity, arthritis, blood sugar imbalances, slow metabolism, general well being, preconception care, and fertility. Then types of naturopathy: rebalancing food, essential oils and other back flowers, Helps and plans, relaxation techniques and massage. Next, mind-body interventions. Mind-body medicine uses a variety of techniques designed to enhance the mind's capacity to affect bodily function and symptoms. Some techniques that were considered alternative in the past have become mainstream. Say, for example, patient with support groups and cognitive behavioral therapy. Then, types of body mind interventions are meditation and breathing, relaxation, hypnosis, and biofeedback. These are the different body mind interventions. And first is the meditation and breathing. This meditation means sitting or resting quietly, often with the eyes closed, which stills the mind for greater self-awareness. Meditation also helps in reduction of pain and relieving stress. It also involves sometimes the repetitive sounding of a mantra, which helps the person to focus. Meditation promotes relaxation. Its components of meditation are quiet space, comfortable position, a respectful attitude, and a focus of attention is needed. Just how Buddha has done a meditation. So, techniques of meditation are meditation and rhythmic breathing, progressive relaxation, relaxation by sensory pacing, and relaxing with music. Meditation and rhythmic breathing, they provide a quiet environment, help the client get comfortable while seated or lying on back, instruct the client to close his eyes and hold a receptive attitude, instruct the client to breathe in and out slowly and deeply using abdominal muscles, keeping the chest still. At the beginning of every out breath, have client to repeat the number 1 silently in his or her mind and continue for a period of meditation. Explain that when the mind wanders, being it back to counting the out breath without judgment. Have client practice 5, 10, 15 or 20 minutes per session. Practice daily for at least one session. Next is progressive relaxation. Following steps 1, 2, 3 and 4 as previous slides we have seen by doing meditation and rhythmic breathing. Once the client is breathing slowly and comfortably, instruct client to tighten and relax the muscles. Instruct the client to tense and relax the calves and knees. Then relaxation by sensory pacing. By following previous steps and rhythmic meditation and rhythmic breathing, instruct the client to slowly repeat and finish either in low voice of the following sentence. Now I am aware of seeing. Now I am aware of feeling, and now I am aware of hearing. Like that they have to count the person, whoever is doing meditation. Then instruct the client to repeat and complete each sentence 4 times, the 3 times, then twice and finally once. Next, relaxing with music. Provide client with a tape recorder and headset. Ask client to select a favorite cassette of slow quiet music. Instruct client to get into a comfortable position and to close his eyes and listen to music through the headset. Instruct client to imagine floating with music. Next, clinical application of prolonging life expectancy, stress control, pain management, cancer and other chronic illness, heart disease, high blood pressure, infertility, psoriasis, respiratory crisis, premenstrual syndrome, tension headaches, irritable bowel syndrome, ulcers and insomnia, and fibromyalgia. In all these conditions, this meditation can be used. It cannot be used in people who have a strong fear of losing control, and hypertensive individuals require a much shorter session than average 15 to 20 minute session. Next is the relaxation. It is the techniques that are aimed at relaxing muscles and quieting the mind and are mainly designed to relieve tension and strain. It is also used as an alternative treatment for insomnia. Then characteristics of relaxation are decreased heart rate, decreased respiratory rate, decreased blood pressure and decreased oxygen consumption. And the clinical applications of this relaxation theory or relaxation therapy are lowering heart rate, lowering blood pressure, tension reducing, and improving well-being, reducing symptoms of distress, depression and anxiety. Then this relaxation therapy cannot be used when the individuals report fear of loss of control and feeling that they are floating and experiencing relaxation induced anxiety related to fear. certain feelings, and occasional relaxation techniques may result in continued intensification of symptoms. Next is the hypnosis. It is a sort of conscious sleep or trance that can help people deal with addictions, pain, or anxiety disorders. In hypnosis, a person is put into an advanced state of relaxation in which he is relatively unaware of his surroundings but not entirely unconscious about it. A hypnotized person follows the instructions given by the hypnotherapist and tends not to be a psychological stress or conflict. Then indications are habit disorders, relaxation, anxiety states, and obsessive compulsive disorder and psychotic disorders. Contraindications are a patient who doesn't want to go into hypnosis and hypertensive individuals. This is contraindicated. Next is biofeedback. It is a group of therapeutic procedures that use electronic or electromechanical instruments to measure the process and information to person about their neuromuscular and autonomic nervous system. The information or feedback is given in physical, physiological activity or visual feedback signals. People, people are trained to exercise some control over the way their bodies work and involves measuring a subject's bodily processes such as blood pressure, heart rate, skin temperature using electronic sensors. Biofeedback helps a person to be more aware of what his body is doing and to bring reactions under control. The most common biofeedback techniques are temperature biofeedback, EMG biofeedback, EEG biofeedback, and galvanic skin response. So clinical applications are during pain, stress, insomnia, and headache. Biofeedback can be used, and this biofeedback is limited to clients who cannot cope with them, and so the persons whoever cannot cope with this biofeedback, they should not be used. For them, this technique should not be used. That is why it's recommended that practitioners should be trained. Next is biologically based therapies. These biologically based therapies in complementary and alternative medicine use substances found in nature such as herbs, foods, and vitamins. There are mainly following types of biological based therapies are herbal medicine and orthomolecular medicine. So herbal medicine, it is a system which uses various remedies derived from plants and their extracts to treat disorders and maintain good health. Either a whole single herb or a mixture of different herbs can be used. Though herbal medicine exhibits a slower and deeper action, they assist the body to eliminate and detoxify, thus taking care of the problem that's causing the symptoms. Herbal medicines are available as extracts, infusions, pills, and powders. Then clinical applications are minor burns, wound healing, hypertension, diabetes, nausea, vomiting, and motion sickness. Then orthomolecular medicine, it involves the use of proper nutrition or nutritional supplements to maintain and restore health. Other molecular medicine uses combinations of minerals, vitamins, and amino acids normally found in the body to treat specific conditions. Then clinical applications are arthritis, cardiovascular disease, hypertension, beriberi, night blindness, osteomalacia, pernicious anemia, rickets, scurvy, and xerophthalmia. Next, manipulative body-based methods. In this, these methods are based on manipulation and are movement of one or more parts of the body. Types of manipulative body-based methods are chiropractic, osteopathy, massage therapy, and reflexology. Chiropractic, it is based on the theory that the disease conditions result from misalignments of body structures, especially the spine. Due to this misalignment, pressure is placed on the nerve roots as they exit the spinal column, resulting in decreased function of the nerve and the organs that they serve. The treatment for achieving this balance is spinal manipulation to restore correct alignment and full working order. Researchers have shown chiropractic to be effective in treating low back pain. Osteopathy, this is a system of diagnosis and treatment by manipulation that mainly focuses on musculoskeletal problems. It differs from chiropractic in its underlying theory that it is impairment of blood supply and not nerve supply that leads to problems. Doctors of osteopathy use manipulation plus traditional medicine to cure problems. Next is massage therapy. It is the manipulation of body tissues to promote wellness and reduce pain and stress. It plays an important role in treating illness or chronic ailments and contributes to a higher sense of general well-being. It involves a variety of techniques such as stroking or kneading for applying pressure to specific points. Massage therapy may cause side effects and should not be used in people who have infectious or contagious skin diseases. Next, reflexology. It is the practice of stimulating points on the feet, hands and ears to improve health or give a beneficial effect on some other parts of the body. It is commonly performed on the particular areas of foot that are believed to correspond to different organs or systems of the body. This helps to eliminate the blockage of energy responsible for pain or disease in the corresponding body part. Then energy therapies. These biofield therapies are intended to affect energy fields that purportedly surround and penetrate the human body. The existence of such fields has not yet been scientifically proven, but some forms of energy therapies manipulate biofields by applying pressure or manipulating the body by placing the hands in or through these fields. Then types of energy therapies are Reiki, therapeutic touch and bioelectromagnetic based therapies. So Reiki therapy is a technique which uses channeling and flow of energy through the body to improve health and promote healing. It is very much different from conventional healing therapies because in a Reiki therapy there are no medicines or tools needed to heal diseases. All a practitioner has to do is to direct energy towards the body through the hands and the power of meditation. Clinical applications of Reiki therapy are anxiety, stress, arthritis, endometriosis, chronic fatigue syndrome, insomnia, depression, migraines, hot flashes and cramps. Then limitations are regular sessions are required and need other treatment in addition to Reiki therapy in case of serious illness. Therapeutic touch. This technique uses the therapist's healing energy to identify and repair imbalances in a person's biofield. They believe that by placing their hands on or near a patient's body, they can direct energy and correct disturbances. Next, clinical applications of this are pain, fever, swelling, infections, wounds, ulcers, thyroid problems, burns, nausea, premenstrual syndrome, diarrhea and headaches. And TT is a useful treating diseases such as measles, this Alzheimer's disease. Then therapeutic touch limitations are lack of eye and facial contact during sessions, persons who are sensitive to human interaction and touch, physical abuse, psychiatric diseases. This is not used. And the next is bioelectromagnetic based therapies. Bioelectromagnetic based therapies are used are pulsar energy or magnetic fields to alter the body's electromagnetic fields and cure illness. Magnets have become a popular treatment for various musculoskeletal conditions and even to relieve pain. Then clinical applications are osteoporosis, arthritis, effective in healing non-union fracture and pain. Next, contraindications are pacemaker and other implanted or external medical devices, pregnancy, myasthenia gravis, hyperfunctional endocrine glands, active tuberculosis, acute viral diseases, malignancies, psychosis and organ transplantation. And role of the nurse in complementary and alternative therapies. So the integrative medicine approach is consistent with the holistic approach nurses are taught to practice. Nurses have the potential for becoming essential participants in this type of healthcare philosophy. And nurses should be knowledgeable of complementary and alternative medicine therapies to make appropriate recommendations. Nurses should provide advice to client regarding when to seek conventional therapies or complementary and alternative medicine therapies. The nurses need to be aware of the state Nurse Practice Act with regard to complementary therapies and practice only within the scope of these laws. Nurses have knowledge regarding current researches being done in this area to provide accurate information not only to patient but also to other healthcare professionals. So these are the references which have been used. So these are the different therapies that can be used. So we have to remember that as a nurse, we have our own limitations. So with those limitations, we should be able to educate the patient and make the patient to follow all these therapies and help the patient in maintaining health. Okay, yes. So in next session, we will have one more topic. Okay, bye.